Instead of forcing your body to burn harder, it may help to focus on how the body uses energy more efficiently. Your body is not just a calorie counter, it is an adaptive system built for survival. When calories stay very low for long periods, the body may gradually slow certain metabolic processes and conserve energy. Real fat loss is not about starving yourself. It is about sending the right signals at the right time so your body begins using its stored energy. To understand why metabolism sometimes slows down during strict dieting, it helps to look at one of the most well-known hunger studies in history. In 1944, researcher Ancel Keys led what became known as the Minnesota Starvation Experiment. The study involved healthy adult men whose daily calorie intake was reduced by roughly 50% for several months. Although the study was carefully monitored, the calorie level was similar to what some people accidentally reach when they skip meals all day and eat very little at night while dieting aggressively. The results showed how strongly the human body adapts to long periods of low energy intake. Over time, the participants experienced a significant drop in their resting metabolic rate, which is the energy the body uses just to maintain basic functions like breathing, circulation, and cell repair. Researchers observed changes such as lower body temperature, slower heart rate, reduced physical energy, and an increased focus on food. Rather than simply continuing to burn calories at the same pace, the body gradually became more efficient with the limited energy available. This adaptation is often described as a survival response, where the body tries to conserve fuel when it senses that resources may be limited. Moving beyond the slowdown that can happen during long periods of strict dieting, there is another common belief worth examining: the idea that a 12-hour fast automatically leads to fat burning. Many people naturally fall into this pattern without trying. For example, they might finish dinner around 8 p.m. and eat breakfast at 8 a.m. the next morning. While this schedule can be a reasonable daily rhythm for many people, researchers often consider it more of a neutral metabolic window rather than a strong fat-burning trigger. The reason lies in how the body stores and uses energy. Your liver keeps a supply of glycogen, which is a stored form of sugar that acts like a readily available fuel tank. Depending on what and how much you ate earlier, this supply can provide energy for roughly 12 to 18 hours. During that time, your body is still primarily running on this stored glycogen rather than tapping deeply into fat reserves. In simple terms, reaching the 12-hour mark often means the body is still using its main fuel source. A longer fasting window may sometimes lead the body to rely more on stored energy. Building on the common 12-hour baseline, many people turn to what the internet often calls the gold standard of intermittent fasting, the 16-to-8 method. In this approach, you fast for 16 hours and eat all your meals within an 8-hour window. For many people, this strategy can work at first. However, the results are not always as dramatic or consistent as many expect. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine compared people following a daily 16-to-8 schedule with others who simply ate regular meals throughout the day. Over time, the difference in overall weight loss between the groups was relatively small. Researchers also observed that some participants lost lean body mass along with body weight. This highlights an important point about how the body adapts to repeated patterns. When a specific eating schedule is repeated every single day, the body can gradually adjust to it. This process is often described as metabolic adaptation. The body becomes more efficient with energy, slowing certain processes slightly to conserve fuel when it expects long gaps between meals. As a result, progress may slow down over time. People may feel like they are putting in the same effort, yet the results become harder to notice. When people hit a plateau with shorter fasting windows, the conversation often shifts to longer fasts, especially the 24-hour mark. At this point, the body may begin relying more on stored energy as readily available fuel becomes limited. The liver normally stores glycogen, which the body uses as a quick source of energy. As fasting continues and those stores are gradually used up, the body begins adjusting the way it manages fuel. Some research has observed hormonal changes during longer fasting periods. For example, certain studies have reported increases in human growth hormone, often called HGH, during extended fasts. This hormone plays several roles in the body, including supporting tissue repair and helping regulate how the body uses energy. Researchers have suggested that it may also help preserve lean tissue while the body relies more on stored energy. Another interesting effect is how the body responds to temporary energy scarcity. Instead of always slowing down immediately, the body can sometimes increase alertness and focus, which scientists believe may be part of a survival response. From an evolutionary perspective, this could help a person stay active while searching for food. Over time, the body may shift more toward using stored fat as part of its energy supply. If a 24-hour fast is often described as a turning point, some researchers and practitioners point to longer fasting windows, such as around 36 hours, as another stage where the body's fuel usage may shift more noticeably. This pattern is sometimes called alternate day fasting, where a longer fasting period is followed by a regular eating day. Studies exploring this approach have looked at how the body responds when fasting extends beyond a full day. As the fasting period continues, the body gradually uses up its easily available energy stores, including glycogen kept in the liver. When these reserves become limited, the body increasingly relies on other energy sources. One of those sources includes ketones, which are produced when the body begins using stored fat for fuel. Researchers have observed that these shifts may become more noticeable during longer fasting periods in some studies. At the same time, the body releases certain stress-related hormones, such as adrenaline and norepinephrine. These hormones are part of the body's natural response to limited energy availability and may increase alertness and energy levels. Some scientists believe this response evolved to help humans stay active while searching for food. As a result, the body may continue adjusting its fuel strategy and draw more heavily from stored energy reserves. Another important piece of the puzzle involves the hormonal response that can appear during longer fasting windows. As fasting continues well beyond the early hours, the body is no longer simply waiting for the next meal. Instead, several biological systems begin adjusting to maintain energy and stability. One of the key responses involves the release of catecholamines, including adrenaline and norepinephrine. These hormones are part of the body's natural survival system. They help increase alertness, sharpen focus, and signal that stored energy may need to be used while food intake is temporarily limited. These signals travel through the bloodstream and interact with tissues that store energy. In simple terms, the body begins shifting more strongly toward using internal fuel reserves to keep essential functions running. Interestingly, this process does not always make people feel weak or exhausted. Some individuals report periods of heightened mental clarity or alertness during longer fasts. Scientists believe this reaction may have developed as an evolutionary advantage. When food was scarce, the human body needed a way to stay active, focused, and capable of searching for resources. Instead of shutting down immediately, the body temporarily adjusts its chemistry to keep energy available when it is needed most. There is an important idea many people miss when talking about longer fasts. Fasting can be powerful, but it is also a form of stress for the body, and that stress follows rules similar to physical training. Think of it like lifting weights. When you challenge your muscles during a workout and then give them time to recover, they adapt and become stronger. But if you tried to lift heavy weights nonstop for an entire day, your muscles would break down instead of getting stronger. Fasting can follow a similar pattern. Short, controlled fasting periods may encourage the body to use energy differently. However, constant restriction without recovery can lead to the opposite result. When the body senses a long-term shortage of calories, it often begins conserving energy to protect itself. Researchers studying calorie restriction have observed that resting metabolic rate can gradually decline when the body stays in a continuous calorie deficit for extended periods. Because of this, many experts emphasize balance. Periods of reduced intake are often paired with normal eating periods, so the body does not fully adapt to permanent restriction. Instead of constant pressure, the process becomes more like a rhythm that allows the body to respond without feeling trapped in an ongoing energy shortage. A more flexible approach to fasting focuses on rhythm instead of constant restriction. Rather than following the exact same eating window every single day, some strategies alternate periods of normal eating with occasional longer fasting windows. The goal is to avoid creating a pattern that the body may gradually adapt to over time. Research exploring intermittent and alternate day fasting has examined how variation in eating schedules may influence energy balance and metabolic responses. In practice, some people follow a routine where most days include normal meals, while 1 or 2 days during the week involve a longer fasting period. These fasting days are usually spaced apart instead of placed back to back. Supporters of this approach believe the variation can help prevent the body from settling into a constant state of restriction. When regular eating days are included, the body continues receiving energy and nutrients, which may support normal metabolic processes. Instead of experiencing a permanent shortage of food, the body may interpret the pattern as occasional changes in availability. In simple terms, the strategy focuses on flexibility. By combining regular eating with occasional fasting periods, the routine introduces variation that may help some people maintain energy and consistency over time. One reason some researchers are interested in varied fasting schedules involves a hormone called adiponectin. This hormone is produced by fat tissue and plays a role in how the body manages energy. Scientists have linked adiponectin to improved insulin sensitivity and to how the body regulates the use of stored fuel. In everyday terms, adiponectin acts like a messenger that helps cells respond more efficiently to energy signals. When levels are higher, the body may handle glucose more smoothly and rely more effectively on available energy sources. Because of this, researchers often study how different eating patterns might influence adiponectin levels over time. Some studies have explored how longer fasting windows may affect this hormone compared with shorter fasting periods. Results suggest that some studies have observed possible changes in adiponectin levels with certain fasting schedules, though outcomes can vary depending on the person and the overall diet pattern. What matters most is not just eating less, but how the body responds internally to different rhythms of food intake. When eating patterns change, the body's hormones and metabolic signals may shift as well. Over time, these shifts can influence how the body balances energy use, storage, and hunger signals. The final piece of the puzzle is how you think about the days when you are not fasting. Many people see regular eating days or larger meals as a loss of discipline, but in many nutrition strategies, they are actually part of the plan. Periods of normal eating give the body energy and nutrients, helping it avoid the feeling of constant restriction. When food intake returns to normal, the body receives signals that resources are available. This can support hormones and systems that regulate metabolism, hunger, and energy balance. Instead of responding to a permanent shortage, the body experiences a cycle that includes both scarcity and abundance. In simple terms, consistency does not always mean repeating the same routine every day. For many people, it means following a pattern they can maintain over time. Alternating between fasting periods and normal eating periods may help create that rhythm. Over time, the focus shifts from pure willpower to understanding how the body manages energy. Rather than constantly fighting hunger, the goal becomes working with the body's natural responses. When eating patterns are structured thoughtfully, metabolism, appetite, and energy levels can gradually move toward a more balanced and sustainable state. This content is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for the support.